Okay, everyone, it's 2:30, so we'll go ahead and get started. Again, welcome everyone to Fine Tune Your Zoom. This is Breakout Room 4 with Chris Scott. Hi everyone, thanks for joining today's breakout. I'm excited to introduce today's presentation, Fine Tune Your Zoom with Chris Scott. Last year, as we all know, we had to pivot on a dime to working from home and virtual everything. So we wanted to carve some time out of the workshop today for a different kind of content. We can literally all use and learn from this content at this very moment. And I've actually known Chris for a while now, about 8 years, and I can vouch for you guys that he is 100% the real deal. And I'm now happy to be able to introduce him to all of you. And I know that you'll enjoy his presentation and that it will allow all of you to project credibility and confidence on your upcoming video calls. If you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to put them in the chat and we will ask them at the end of the presentation. Also, it's totally up to you guys if you want to have your cameras on or off during the presentation. Either it's fine with us. It's a little bit more of an intimate setting than the general session. So with that, I will pass it over to Chris.
Hello, and just checking in to make sure you can hear me just fine. Just want to make sure you can hear me okay. Oh, excellent. Thank you. All right, great. Hi, thank you and for giving me 30 minutes of your time. My company is called Fine Tune Your Zoom, projecting credibility and confidence on video calls. We all know those. We've all been through it. It's been a tough year, but we've gotten really good at Zoom calls. And since Zoom it feels like it's going to be the new norm. Going forward, we've found ways to incorporate it in our daily work life that we might not have used it before. So I'm going to share with you some valuable tips about how to present your best self when you are on camera. Just a little bit about myself. Really, my main expertise when as a professional is professional makeup artist. But then I had a TV show called Makeup Gourmet, where I taught you how to cook a look. And in doing so, I started to work in television. And working in the television, I really understood the whole concept of, how you frame yourself in the box, as opposed to how you frame yourself in a workplace, in a room. I'm trying to see, Kendra, if I can get my ugly face. There's my ugly face. Good, because I want to be able to talk to people while I'm working. I think I just got it. Let me try that again. Nope. Okay, let's go like that. All right, good. Enough of that. Well, okay.
I can see your face and it's not ugly at all. So it looks.
Well, I know, but do you see everybody else's too? Because I'm trying to share my screen, but I don't want.
How do I just gallery setting at the top? All right, let me see in the chat what your setup looks like. If you have I have the top row kind of a carousel of everyone's photo. So if you guys have the same view as I do, or something else, feel free to drop it in the chat.
Well, I'm going to drop me because I don't see me. So anyway, here's just a quick view of my work history. I've had the opportunity to work with some really, trusted individuals over my career, and in doing so, I hope it imparts to you the caliber of expertise, that I have been asked, that I've worked with, and that people have asked of me along my career. And so away we go with Fine Tune Your Zoom. Today, I broke it down into some sections. There's a little crossover between the sections, as you will see, but if want to organize it so we're not jumping all over the board. Part one is equipment. Part two will be about your environment, meaning where you actually do your calls. Part three, personal appearance. How do you look on camera and how do you want to look? Part four is about body language. And then part five is talking about, well, how do you know if you have it all together? That's called the critical third eye. So moving on to part one, which is equipment. So I spoke about being in television, and in television, And I mentioned television because whether you like it or not, we're working on a TV screen. That's how we're presenting ourselves. And so if you just easily adapt that broadcast sensibility to your Zoom calls, it's amazing how clean and efficient they look. Rather than trying to be homey about it or I don't know, happy, trying to create an environment that tries to tell everything about you. Let's be clear about what we're going to talk about. But it took a lot of technology to create a nice TV setting. This is the control room. You see all the people and gear that people are working with. But nowadays that technology has been micro condensed to like, even a smartphone. And so you're in charge of everything because you don't have all those people looking at you and making you look good. So you have to do it yourself. So let's talk about the equipment. So if you're working from home or even from the office, make sure your internet speed is up to the task. The last thing you want to have happen during calls is to have your line start to jump. Your connection gets bumpy. Even though everybody excuses it, it still is an interruption in the conversation, and you want to avoid as many interruptions as possible. Now, if your internet speed is just not up to the task, there are fixes. One is you can invest in a higher internet speed. And if where you're at, you are getting the highest internet speed possible. And if you're not connected to an Ethernet, then hardwiring whatever device you're working from with an Ethernet will at least give you the best connection you can possibly get, given the internet connection that you're able to receive from whatever location you're in. If you're working from home, and let's say your router is in the front of the house and your office is in the back of the house, which isn't a bad idea for sound, you can get boosters. They go about halfway down the house. They plug in and they throw a more powerful signal towards your device. Also, you can get super elongated Ethernet cables. The one I'm working with today is 20 feet long, 30 feet long, because my router's not near me. But I'm able to connect it. So it's worth it to spend a little time to get that better. Monitors, real quick. If it's a one-on-one call, doesn't matter what size the monitor is. But as the audience grows, the bigger your monitor, the better. If you're giving a staff meeting or presenting and talking to a lot of people, and you want to point them out individually during the call, it's not good if you're squinting and leaning towards the monitor trying to see everybody. So obviously, the bigger the monitor, the better. Most of our devices have a decent camera. But if you look at yourself and when you're having the call, you can see the little box of yourself and you look kind of wavy or grainy, or it's kind of staccato-ish, you need a better camera. And so invest in a small camera. And of course, the technology is at the point now where you can get an HD anything. A little GoPro camera is really good. Something like that. Because the more crisp and crystal clear you look, the more crisp and crystal clear you sound, the more crisp and crystal clear your communication is. Clarity is everything, because we're working within this 4x3 box or 16x9, whatever your dimensions are, but we're working in a small box. So you really want to make that box, that monitor frame that people are seeing of you, really resonate. And the other thing you want to consider is, how is your sound? Let other people tell you, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, but how do I sound on the Zoom call? If you sound like you're in your garage, it's echoey, it's tinny, it's scratchy, all those things, get a small microphone. You can spend bigger bucks for the microphone on the right, sure. You can spend less bucks with a little plug-in, clip-on the left. It's great to have a good microphone, because then you're not, when you're making the call, you're not like shouting into the camera because you think they can't hear you, and so it sounds like you're angry or something like that. You want to just have a nice, resonant, relaxed voice and let the camera pick everything up that you're doing. And so that's the point of having a better sound. Now, regardless of all the things I've spoken about, which are all super duper duper important, believe it or not, in my opinion, the most important is your lighting. You want good, smooth lighting. You want what's called wrap lighting, W-R-A-P. Wrap lighting is lighting that wraps around your face. I'm just going to see if I can bring my mug back up a little bit because I want to share this with you. Wrap lighting, you want light that wraps this way around you, right? So as I turn my head, there are no dark shadows. There's no strong shadows on the wall behind me. I don't look stark. If you want the light source to be from in front of you, you want a light to the left and to the right of you, coming at you at just a little bit of an angle this way. Here, if I put on my glasses, you can see the two kind of panel lights. I'm using LEDs that are strips that attach to the wall, but if you're not up against the wall, there are other ways to get better source lighting, but do it. Because if your lighting is coming just from the back, you know, you look like you're a silhouette. If it's coming from the side, you're hot on one side and dark on the other, and you look a little Jekyll and Hyde, even though you go, yeah, everybody, it's fine. It's just my call on Zoom. It's not. If you look really great, you project more credibility and more confidence on your call. And really, that's what you want to do, even if it's casual. Even if you're talking with someone you've talked with, 50 times, still looking your best, not just your own person, but how you present technologically, the better for you. So that's it for equipment. We're moving on. Next is environment. Now, environment, bye-bye me, bye-bye Kendra. And all I can say about environment is keep it as clean as possible. You don't want to have a stark environment, but at the same time, you don't want a busy environment. You don't want people to get more interested in what's in the room than with what you're saying. So make sure you keep your room, just use the elements that you absolutely positively need. So the 4 points I'm going to talk about is minimize your environment, control it in terms of sound. What if you're on the go? You need a portable video call environment. How do you do that? And then privacy. So here I go. I'm going to show you my my face again. So you notice in my environment too, there's a couple things you want. The way the camera works, you want to get the top of the frame close to the top of your head. Don't put a lot of distance between you and the top of the camera, because if I'm talking like this, hey everybody, how you doing? It's like my chair isn't tall enough, or I haven't been invited to the adults table. You watch any good newscast, they always are just grazing or just slightly above the top of the head. And really, that's what if you're flipping through channels and you want to stop on a station, you stop on something because it's aesthetically pleasing. You want people to stop on you and stop on your call. In my environment, there's 3 things for you to look at. There's me, there's my branding, fine-tune your Zoom. Wait, let's get that in the shot better. And then there's the back wall. That's it. So you have nothing else to think about while I'm talking during this call, because everything is, I've controlled everything. So moving on, minimize. That's what we just talked about. Minimize your environment so that the most important thing on the call is what you have to say. Control the environment. So as much as we can, you want to control any interruptions. So obviously no pets, no kids, no doorbells, no phones ringing, no air conditioners turning on, anything like that. You kind of go, oh, there goes the air conditioner again, and it interrupts the call. So you can control that if you pay attention to it. Portability. So you're not always in the same place when if you have to make a Zoom call, right? You're traveling, whatever. So this is where I actually suggest incorporating a green screen with your with your Zoom apparatus or whatever platform you're using. And often the green screen's built in. It's not ideal because unless you really set up your space so you have an actual green screen behind you, it always looks like you're in front of something when you're giving the talk and the call like this. And we were tripping out what part of you disappears and reappears, with the thing behind you with the green screen. But if you're someplace where you don't want to see where I am, Green screen will save you, because all people see is you and a nice, clean, clear platform. You can, pick your own image for your background, so you can really create something just easy to look at and keep you in the front. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention is something maybe you don't think about, but it's so important, and that's privacy. In the world of Zoom, we invite people into our homes without even thinking about it. In the real world, if we met somebody, say, "Hey, come on into my house. I want you to just come on in and see everything." You want to get to know the person before you invite them into your home, but with Zoom, we don't do that. So I suggest, even though say you're a family person or a social person, or you're athletic and you like to golf and you want to show pictures of that, don't show pictures of your family, names of schools. Don't give any personal information visually to who you're talking to. This is a great world that we live in, and in it are some not great people, and you never know who that might be. Every day my jaw drops when I see what somebody's done to somebody else. And though we want to think the best of everyone, don't give people fodder if they want to get to know you better, or get to know your kids better, or whatever. Don't give them that information. Don't have the graduation picture with the name of the school where they are presented when you're making a call. I know it may sound paranoid, but one of the reasons I bring this up is these are situations that have happened with my past clients, and we've had to fix it. And I hate it, but it's how it is sometimes. So just be smart. Just share what you want to share with people. Make it part of what the conversation is, nothing else. Personal appearance. So we've talked about the technology. How do we project our best visual self with the technology at hand? We've talked about the room where we do our technology. Now let's talk about us personally, personal appearance. So we're going to use straight up TV broadcast rules when it comes to what I'm about to share with you. And these rules are awesome because on my show, I've broken these rules and I look terrible on television. So wardrobe, solid colors are best. You notice I'm wearing 2 solid colors today. Everything's a solid color. It reads better. It's easier to frame. It's not busy. But don't wear black or white. Black or white, you either disappear, you just disappear, or it cuts you off at the neck. It's too stark, or you blend into everything to the point where you're not separated out from the rest of the environment. Avoid anything with stripes, plaid patterns, because the lines are so close that the camera doesn't pick up all the information. So you get this wave pattern. You've seen it on TV where the jacket or the tie has this little wave pattern. That's distracting. So don't do that. Touch-up makeup. Now, touch-up makeup is not beauty makeup. Touch-up is, God, I don't look great today and I have a Zoom call. What am I going to do? Use some touch-up makeup. In the business I'm in, everybody wears it. I did makeup for, newscasters and what have you. The men were more needy than the women because they had more experience with the makeup. But in terms of how do I look better? Concealer, something that can neutralize darkness and redness on the face. Get your skin tone. Translucent powder without any shimmer that flattens down, mattifies your skin. Matte means you don't reflect light. By not reflecting light, you're not like a little light bulb on the screen. And bronzer kind of brings you back to life. If you feel like it's winter and you've been indoors for 3 months and you look it, bronzer can make you look warm and fresh. And even if you look at the camera and go, hey, I look pretty good, that projects. Hair, make sure your hair is groomed, and groomed just means smooth. What you don't want is hair covering your eyes. Maybe it's a pet peeve of mine. Maybe everybody else is more lenient than I am, but I'm talking to someone and they're like this. And I'm like, doesn't that bug you that your hair is covering your eye? And that's all I can think about when I'm talking to them. And so obviously my focus isn't 100% on the conversation. The one thing, if you have big hair, that's fine. If your hair is just naturally big, but keep it neat. Because what happens is you can get a light gap. You can see in this picture here, this woman's hair, just a little break of light down there is coming through her hair. The more light you have coming through from the back of your head, the more you look anemic, like your hair is falling out almost. Like, not that mine isn't, but you don't have the light gaps. So try to avoid the light gaps. Jewelry, fine to wear, but less is more. So posts, things that are enclosed within the skin of the earlobe, great. If they're going to come below the ear, let them just wrap below the ear, but not dangle. The second something starts to dangle, it's like, ooh, shiny, what's that? We're going to watch your earrings float around in space. And if they're small earrings, what happens is as they turn, they disappear and reappear, disappear and reappear. And boy, nothing I want to watch more than a magic trick. I'm sorry, what did you say? I'm busy watching your jewelry disappear and reappear. Necklaces, I like necklaces. If you have an open neck, just a nice clean necklace, make sure the necklace doesn't get hidden, doesn't go down into the neckline and then back up, because our eye is going to follow that necklace where it disappears and comes back out. And so we're looking down at your chest rather than up into your face. So make sure if you're wearing a necklace that it's on all skin. Glasses, check for reflection, so when you're talking, see, I'm talking right now, no reflection on my glasses, but if I go like this, reflection. So you want to position your light so that you don't get reflection on your glasses, okay? And if you are getting reflection, adjust your light source, because that's very important. Body language. So this is one of the overlap parts I was talking about. See, I'm adjusting my screen right now. But body language, remember, TV, this kind of stuff is highly manipulative. We let people see what we want them to see. So use that as a communication tool. I don't say to manipulate people, but as a way for people to hear you better. Don't give them a reason to be distracted. So we'll talk about a few points in the body language section that I think make a strong difference visually when you are on camera talking to somebody else. First is camera distance. And the camera distance is the distance you have from the camera. I just say, put your arms straight out and just touch your camera. That's the distance you want, all right? If you're farther back, it's like, hi, I really don't want to talk to you, but okay, let's chat. Or how much in your face do you want me to be? None of those work. They're like stupid intimidating, or like, I don't care. But when you're just present 3 feet away from the camera, you're not in their face, but you're not out of their face, okay? A swivel chair is a really good chair, a chair that moves. So if you have to make an adjustment, it's seamless and flawless. I want you to notice that today I'm using what's called offset positioning. Whereas I'm not in the center of the frame during my presentation, I'm off to one side, and I've also angled my shoulders, so my center shoulder is angled back. This is just a more friendly position to be in when you are speaking. To be in the center is very authoritative, and or it's a good position to be in if you want to show that, yes, I'm listening. Yes, you have something to say, and I have to listen. Yes, I'm listening. This is good because it communicates listening, or it also communicates what I'm about to say is very important. But when you're speaking and you don't want to be in people's face, I call this offset. What you do when you do this, you invite the audience in. You give them a little bit of leeway to come into the frame. And so getting back to that, when you use the offset, what's great about it is when you want to make a point, when you want to say, and the thing that I want you to remember most today, I don't care about everything else I just said, but the thing that is most important for you to remember is this. And then I say it, that's the most important. And then I go back like this and I release the tension. But somehow I made a stronger impact with you. And the thing that I just remembered was, it's a really hard practice, but try to look at your camera and not your face on the camera when you're talking to people. You think, this is really rude of me not to look you in the eyes. but I am looking you in the eyes, aren't I? But now I'm not. And so now I don't care about you, but now I do. So find a way to look people in the eye. All these things will make you look really like you care a lot. And of course you do, but there's so many things you can do that make you look like you don't care, that you don't realize that you're doing. So it's just to be a little bit hyper aware. So critical third eye basically is, well, gosh, Chris, that's a lot of information and you never stop talking. I don't have time to write a question. You need to have a critical third eye. What that means is someone who you trust, someone who's objective. You want to, based on this conversation we had today, actually dialogue, monologue, set up a Zoom call and just ask people, well, what do you see? Who do you think I am per my setup? So I ask you that now. Just think about it. Who do you think I am? And now, of course, you already know who I am, but what information do you get technically when you see this? That's what you want to hear. How's my lighting? How's my sound? Are you distracted? Blah, 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 right? So all this stuff is, all this stuff is very technical, but it's easy to clean up your look. So if you yourself are a person who are like, I make a lot of calls and I think my lighting's bad and I think I probably don't wear the right thing when I'm on camera, here's what I want you to do. Set up a complimentary Zoom call with me. I'll give you my website right after this slide. But you set up a 15-minute Zoom call. Set up your Zoom, how you like it best or how you usually have it. And I'll chat and I'll say, okay, I see the things we need to work on. And then from there, we can set up an appointment to actually fix those things. So the complimentary Zoom call is, of course, free. And then when you work with me, you'll see that my prices are very, very reasonable and worth it. Because once I tell you, and once we fix it, it's fixed forever. It's not like something you have to keep doing, right? So for those of you who are still scratching your heads going, okay, what kind of shirt, solid or print? Just reach out to me. Then I'll be happy to talk to you. So there's my email, second line from the bottom, finetuneyourzoom.com. And you can just go to services and you'll see complimentary Zoom, or if you just want to sign up for an appointment now, a half hour is, I don't know, what is it, $49, something like that. But what's most important is that you get your questions answered. So I ask all of you who have questions or want to know more without going to a complimentary Zoom appointment, send me an email to finetuneyourzoom@gmail.com. I'm happy. I will answer everybody's email because this is what I do and I have a good eye for it. And I want to help you and I want you to be, I know you're already successful at what you do, but just because of that doesn't mean you've mastered the technology of, television broadcasting, basically Zoom broadcasting. And that's why I'm here. I thank you for your time. And if we have time for questions, we'll take them.